Good day. I am Dr Elize Kung, the Deputy Dean, Community Engagement and Stakeholder Relations. I'm also operationally responsible for the Vanderbilt campus. I would like to wish you welcome within the Faculty of Education, as well as on the Vanderbilt campus. Firstly, I would like to congratulate you on the resilience you have shown during the last 2 years. You have faced challenges unknown to previous matrics, and you succeeded, and today you form part of a select group of people who qualified to study at a university, and specifically qualified to study teaching. The Northwest Universities tells us that it all starts here. What does this mean? It's actually such exciting words because it hints at a place where dreams begin, a place where you, as a young adult, can visualize your aspirations and future successes, a place where you start on a road to forming a career path, a road to your future, and a road that can lead to many exciting adventures. Within the Faculty of Education, one of our aims are to expand the boundaries in and through education. Ladies and gentlemen, our hope is that as future teachers, we can expand boundaries for you in the 4 years that you study with us, to such an extent that you are excited to go and expand boundaries of young children that will sit in front of you in the years to come. You may sit here and wonder, how do I do this? What do I need to know to make my dreams come true? This is all so new. Now, our theme for the program this year, for the orientation program, is that of a beehive. And I think that bees in a hive all work together, but all work according to certain things, patterns, and everybody knows what they are supposed to be doing. And this is what I would like to share with you. So I decided to point to 3 important things that I believe it is very important to know to make a success of what is your future careers. The first is to understand your curriculum and the language of tertiary education. It is important to know your phase. Each of you have been enrolled in a specific phase, either the foundation phase, the intermediate phase, or the senior and FET phase. Within the intermediate phase, as well as the foundation phase, you will study your mother tongue for 4 years. You will also study an additional language from your second year onwards. And then you had to make a choice between one of 2 specializations if you chose to study in the intermediate phase. The senior and FET phase requires of you to choose between 2 majors. And then, ladies and gentlemen, linked to those majors are 3 GET modules. This is the modules that you will be teaching in the senior phase, thus for grade 7, 8, and 9s. You may recall in your grade 8 and 9 year that you had subjects like natural science and social science, which constitute both geography and history, or both life sciences and physical sciences. And that is precisely what these GET modules address. Also, you will be required to elect a 3rd language, a language that you know nothing about. And that language you will have to do 1 semester module to become conversationally competent. Very often students find this very scary, but please don't. It is actually a lot of fun and an exciting adventure, dipping your toes into learning languages of South Africa that you may have heard but never have tried to speak. Another thing that you need to understand are the module codes. We don't really refer to subjects at all, but you will always, on your timetables and with your lecturers, realize that we refer to module codes. What do you need to know about these? Very simple, ladies and gentlemen. The first number in your code will indicate the year of study. So this year, all your module codes will start with the number 1. The second number indicates the semester in which you are doing the module. Modules cannot interchange between first and second semester and are only presented in the semester that is indicated in the module code. You may also find a third module code that is slightly different, and that is for your teaching practice modules. These are year modules. And although their first number is still the year of your study, the second number that you will see, the second digit, is a 7. This indicates a year module. Another thing that you need to know about modules is that they have a credit value. Some modules will be 8 credits, some may be 12, and some may be 16. This credit value guides the notional hours. What are notional hours? Notional hours refers to how many hours we should spend on something. In this case, becoming comfortable with the content of a module. This brings me to the second part of what I need to talk to you about, and that is time management. You will soon find out that university is completely different from school. At school, you were kept busy according to a timetable from 8 in the morning until 2, maybe 2:15 in the afternoon. You had periods that followed on one another. You knew exactly what to pack in your bookcases, and that is how your day went. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you have entered a world that allows you a lot more freedom. You may have moved away from home, so there are no more parents looking over your shoulder, making sure you are attending classes and so forth. Even those of you who are still staying at home may find that your parents are not as concerned about how you manage your time, because you are young adults now. This is why I thought it a good idea to explain to you exactly how the notional hours work, because you may soon find, when you have your timetable in hand, that you have days where you have no classes, that you have days where you have a single class, or a class at 8 in the morning and one again at 3 in the afternoon. And knowing that this does not mean this is all free time, this is time to sit with my friends, this is time to go to movies and so forth, I think is very, very important for your future success. So let's have a look at how this credit and notional hour thing works. 1 credit is equal to 10 notional hours. In total, over the year, your modules should add up to approximately 120 credits, give or take 2 to 5 credits either way. But what does this actually mean? Let's look at an example of one specific module. EDCC 315 is a module you will have in your first semester of your 3rd year. It's an 8-credit module. That means you should spend 80 hours on this module to successfully complete the outcomes and to say with confidence, I have mastered the content of that module. Now, let's say, for example, that you have 1 contact session per week, and in COVID times, this may even change. A contact session is approximately 1.25 hours, which then per semester will give you 12.5 hours if we work on a 10-week semester. We mostly have 11 weeks of contact time, but there are always weeks where things don't go as planned, so let's work on an average of 10 weeks. The lecturer may also have decided to provide you with 2 assignments. Each of these will take about 10 hours, so that will take 20 hours of your time. And this, ladies and gentlemen, are the kind of things that the lecturers will do to stay involved. Then we have a semester test, for which the preparation should perhaps take about 5 hours. If we add all of this up, it gets us to a total of 37.5 hours, where the lecturer has directly involved you in some way or another with the content of this module that you are doing. However, we had a look and saw that we have 80 hours that should be spent on this module. This means that it's your responsibility to make up the other 42.5 hours. How do we do this? By, when we don't have classes, going to the library, sitting down, reading up on certain things, doing research on topics, finding additional sources, becoming comfortable with the content of your textbook. You have to realize that you will not be taught your textbook. Lecturers will use contact sessions to facilitate understanding, to engage you in critical discussions. And reading your textbook, reading the learning material is up to you. I always advise students to start thinking of your study time as the beginning of your entering the world of work. If you see Monday to Friday as a work week or a study week, and you spend from 8 to 5 every day on your studies, you will still have sufficient time to have fun, ladies and gentlemen. You can have fun in the evenings, every evening. You can have parties over weekends, and you will make a success of your studies. However, if you do not follow this advice, and you think that that contact sessions are the only way for you, or the only thing needed for you to pass a module, you may have to rethink your situation at the end of this year. The next thing that I would like to talk to you about is academic integrity. At university, plagiarism is something that is taken very seriously. What is plagiarism? Plagiarism is copying any text from other students or learners or other sources, a study guide, prescribed material directly from the internet. And whereas it may not seem so bad in the outside world, within the university environment, that is stealing. That can lead to the end of your studies. Lecturers would normally start warning you and at first just deduct marks, but as you grow in maturity, by your second or third year, you may find that you have to face a disciplinary hearing because of plagiarism, and that you may lose all progress in a specific module. And if it is bad enough, you may actually be excluded from studying the course any further. So what do? You reference, you reformulate text and use your own words to explain what you have read, and still reference, because remember, it's not the words that belong to somebody, but the thoughts. Just remember, stealing intellectual property can lead to serious consequences. I want to warn you that if you are caught copying text, you will obtain a mark of 0 for that specific assignment, and disciplinary steps may be taken by the faculty or the university. Be careful and do not make your work available to anyone else. I cannot tell you how many horror stories I have heard of students borrowing a flash drive from a friend, just saying, I just want to see what you have done because I'm not sure where to start, and then stealing that work. Of junior students asking senior students for their work and then stealing it. Or even cases where a friend dupes you into doing their work for them, and invariably you may be caught out. Be very careful. This is your future. Protect it at all costs. And then the last thing that we need to speak about is taking responsibility. You are now young adults. You have passed matric and you are on your own. Most of you are above 18, which legally makes you an adult. So I want you to remember that the responsibility starts with you. All of you can say, responsibility starts with me. Nobody's going to take responsibility for you anymore. It is your responsibility to make sure that you access the study guide and study materials. It is your responsibility to plan for assignments in time, to adhere to submission dates. Lecturers are not responsible for any of these things. Lecturers are not required to allow you extra time because you did not plan properly. Planning at university is extremely important. Please also note that the POPIA Act basically prohibits us from discussing anything with anybody but you. So even if a lecturer is adamant that they will not give you a second chance, they may actually not even speak to your parents. So please don't have your parents contact us. The next part of the responsibility that we need you to take is to respect yourself, your fellow students, and your lecturers. That is a responsibility that starts with you, ladies and gentlemen. If you do not show respect for other people will not show respect towards you. And this can really lead to very unpleasant circumstances. May I request that you make sure about the title of a lecturer or a support staff member and address them accordingly. Do not go around addressing everybody as Mr. or Miss or Mrs. Make sure who is the professor, who is the doctor. And make very sure that you address people in the proper way. Also, respect a lecturer's private time. Lecturers are available to you. You will find that they have consultation hours. You will find that they will request of you to make appointments to see them. And this is when they will see you. But they are not supposed to answer WhatsApps at 8 at night because you have a crisis, or at 3 in the morning because you have a crisis. Just like everybody else, lecturers have hours that they are available, and then they have personal time. If any problems occur, start with your lecturer first, and after that, follow the grievance procedure. Don't run straight to the top, because it's just going to make the process 3 times longer, because then everything will have to filter down to the lecturer for an answer to go up to the top again. Rather follow the grievance procedure. Grievances, what are they? A grievance is basically any dissatisfaction or feeling of unfairness or injustice on the part of any student connected with the student's expectations of the program for which the student has registered in learning teaching sessions, assessment outcomes, and other student-related activities. That is the formal definition of a grievance. So when something happens and you feel that there has been some unfairness or injustice, you are allowed to lodge a grievance. The grievance procedure is published on every lecturer's Ifundi site, and you will clearly see, after you've spoken to your lecturer, if the problem was not solved satisfactorily, who you should seek out next. The dean is the last person to be sought out. And once again, I'm asking very nicely, please follow the grievance procedure. A last thing that I would like to lay in your midst is that I would love you to be proud of your choice. Very often we hear students saying in reses that other students tell them, you picked teaching because you could not have found anything else. Or why do you want to be a teacher? You're never going to be rich. Ladies and gentlemen, you made a great choice. You made a choice to be something special. You're going to change the lives of many children. However, to be a good teacher, You must be fond of working with children. You must have a lot of patience and be a very good listener. Not just hear what the child say, but actually listen with your whole heart and soul. You have to have good language proficiency because you will be the model of the language that the child in front of you will use. You have to be creative. You have to be punctual. You have to be accurate. You have to be persistent. And you have to be a hard worker. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you chose teaching, and this is what teaching requires of us, did you not make a great choice? Just remember, all other professions are only there because of the teachers that taught the children who chose those professions as their profession and their career. Thank you. Once again, welcome and best wishes for your 4 years of study at the Northwest University.